Hello and welcome to the Sensual Being Podcast with myself, your host, Jolene Whiting. I have been a pole dance teacher for nearly 20 years. I'm also a yoga instructor, and my favourite pastimes are connecting to my own sensuality, connecting with the world, and connecting with animals as well. In this podcast, you'll find new and inventive ways of how you see yourself, connecting yourself with others, and also how you see and view the world around you. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to protect our own creative energy and how to create more of it as well. Hello, Sensual Being, and thank you so much for joining me here today. And if nobody has told you yet today, you are a gift. You are a gift to this world. So thank you so much for honouring me with your presence today. I would like to talk to you about creativity, particularly when it comes on the side of like being a perfectionist or being judged. It can really, really stifle the creative flow that we can get. And creativity is kind of like the heart of life in whatever way, shape or form it takes. And it's something that is so easily put to the wayside. Distractions get in the way, to-do lists get in the way. There's always something else that you should be doing before you actually put any energy into being creative. And oddly, this is so true if creativity is also part of your business. Sometimes it's like, I better get my admin done, better get my taxes done, and it's just all of that busy stuff. And I know we need the busy stuff, but we must not sacrifice our soul's urge for the creativity, because our lifestyles are really designed to do that. And I've spoken about it in a previous episode recently about how AI is really taken over. And so where you might have had somebody draw you a picture to go with some promotion you're doing, you can actually just get AI to whip it up. And yeah, I know that's great in ways, but when you think about the artistry involved in that and how it's taken, or not necessarily you, but how it is taken away from actually a human creating that for you, for your business and using their business for it. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So if there's anything I can do on this podcast which will strike a chord with you for your creativity and that type of energy, then I am definitely going to do it. So when it comes to being creative, everyone can hold themselves back, but I think women definitely do this more. We have to get it right. It has to be properly done, and thing is, we'll get judged for it, yeah? And that's seen as a bad thing. But actually, the most important thing is how you feel when you are creating, because that's the point, yeah? So if you were going to create something and never share it with anybody else, what would you do? Because it's not about what other people think. Other people will have their own opinions. And we have to remember that, have a think now about something that you absolutely love. Maybe it's a bit of artwork, maybe it's a film, maybe it's a story. It's something that has been created and you think, this is everything. I absolutely love this. This is amazing, the most amazing one of this I've ever seen. That has been criticized by someone somewhere in the world. And when you realize this, you think, oh, well, they're still putting their magic out, or even just embarking on it. Because like I said, it's not necessarily about sharing it, but still, they're still putting it out there. And we mustn't forget that one of the worst critics that we can ever have of our own creative work, our energy, whatever it is in our life, is ourself. We can be nasty to ourselves. We can be just downright rude and out of line. That's not good enough. You've done better before. You'll never be any good at this. Why are you bothering? What's the point? All that voice in your head, it's exhausting. I'm not exempt from this, which is why I'm doing this pod, because I am there. I'm trying to I've got two people, like, you know, in like a Tom and Jerry cartoon when you've got like the angel and the demon sitting on each of their shoulders, like, do this. No, don't do this, you know. I have that too. I have the person on one side going, oh, create, it's phenomenal. You absolutely love it when you do this. Then I've got the other side going, shouldn't you be doing this first? Shouldn't you be doing that first? Shouldn't you be doing this? Oh, so I know that inner critic is there because we wouldn't be human without it. And at the end of the day, that judgmental side, that quick acting, reacting kind of voice will save us. It will say, don't step out there, there's a car there, stop it. You know, we have that ability to actually, you know, stop ourselves from doing stuff if we need to. And that's important. But do we need that all the time? No, we don't. So it's trying to work out when to listen to that voice and when to not. When to say to that voice, no, it's okay, I hear you. Yeah, I do have this stuff to do, actually. You're quite right, I do have a lot to do. But actually, I think my soul would be happier if I actually did something else. Even just for like a few minutes or something. It doesn't have to be long. And if you find that it's difficult to actually get the time to create something, you are not alone there either. You are not alone. And something that I got from a great book by Elizabeth Gilbert is a book called Big Magic. And it's all about creativity. And I love the book so much. It is honestly one of my favorite top 10 books I've ever read. And one of the things that she says in it, and I want to share this with you because it's just brilliant. She said to have an affair with creativity. So if you are somebody, if you find yourself saying, oh, I just don't get time for it anymore. I don't get time for this, don't get time for that. Perhaps maybe you were somebody who used to paint really elaborate pictures or like do like amazing dance shows. And you're like, I just don't get that sort of time anymore. And it's like, yeah, that's okay. What do you have time for? You know, when you actually break it down, you might be able to get a pocket of time here and a pocket of time there and just have like 10 minutes. Yeah? Because when you've ever seen like films and stuff, or even in real life, you think someone's not got that time to have an affair. They wouldn't do that. And yet somehow with like managing 4 kids, 2 jobs, a husband and a dog and all this, they still find time to have an affair because that spark means more to them emotionally than anything else. So they will make time. And it's just amazing that you can make time. You can make time and energy. So I'm not telling you to go out and have an affair before we get cross wires on that. But to actually think of creativity of I've only got 10 minutes. I know I'm working towards painting trees, but I need to work towards drawing leaves better. So how about I've only got 10 minutes right now to do something. I'm just going to draw a leaf. Yeah. All of this helps to create more magic. And I bet that the more times, little pockets of elusive time like that you find to have an affair with your creativity, I bet you will find more time, because it's just how it works, because you want to. And when you want to, it's so funny, right? You can say, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. And if something is put in your way that you absolutely have to do, you don't have a choice, you just got to get it done, you will get it done. It's mad how time works like that. We can literally create our own time if we want to. So we have to want it. And if you don't want it, that's fine. Maybe if you've been doing something and you just aren't feeling it anymore, then maybe it is time just to put it on the back burner, because that can also happen. And you have to be able to offer yourself compassion that might not be the thing for you right now. No, don't say never. You don't need to say never, but right now. And if you feel a bit lost from doing that, then you can kind of feed in to the playful aspect of life. Because remember, when children are very, very young, before they've even learnt to speak, They're trying to build things out of their toys. They're trying to draw things, finger painting. Yeah? They're making up all these little songs of noises. They're being creative and they're coming from a joyful place with it. And I want to come back to that a little bit more because that actually has a lot of relevance to something else I want to speak to you about as well in a minute. But when you think about that playful energy, babies are so curious about everything. Where's your curiosity right now? What are you curious about? What would you like to do if you could just for no reason? It's not even going to help your creativity stuff. It's just completely off on a tangent. And one of the random things that I enjoy doing, which kind of piques my curiosity, is I quite like using like Google Maps and going to other countries and then like using the street view to look up and down streets. I'm like a virtual stalker. But I love doing that. And I'm like, honestly, you go to all these places, not everywhere has all the road maps. And that I find is a whole other interesting topic of conversation as well. So enjoy that if you go down the rabbit hole with that one. But I just find it piques my curiosity, and there's no reason for it. It doesn't stem on to anything else really. I mean, I guess it could, but it doesn't. It's just something that I do sometimes for no reason. And it's being curious about life, because that type of playfulness and curiosity will pique your creativity, and you don't know where it's going to go, and that's okay. You don't have to do the same thing forever. Nobody has. We can actually live, I say it quite a lot, to be able to live multiple lives within our lifetime, I think is a true gift from being here. If you find you get a lot of satisfaction from being in the same job that you were in when you left school, but you enjoy it and you love it, you feel comfy or you feel stable and you feel just really good about it, stay there. If you want to. Because it's your choice. If you are feeling edgy with something and you're like, oh, I want to do something else, then do something else. Because that's your choice. Everyone's choice is valid. Everyone's choice and freedom of choice is valid. So long as you're not hurting anyone, then it's your choice, it's your life. And we get this chance here, right now, to experience this world as it is. And that is just so, so important. And I think creativity is such a fun way to explore the world and our minds and our souls. And I want you to think about the reason why we create. So it's a way of allowing our soul to lead. It's the expression of our soul comes out in our creativity. And that's just magic. That's the number one reason for creativity. Because your second reason might be to share it. But it certainly isn't number one. Your number one reason is you would do it even if you didn't share it. Because it's not about the sharing. It's about you and your magic, your feeling, your emotion, how it lights you up. Your third reason might be for profit. It might be part of your work. And a lot of my creativity is actually part of my work. And that is both good and bad. It's a double-edged sword. I remember I did a podcast. I can't remember which number it was now. But it was about should you follow your passion or why you might not. Because when you start to put income attached to your creativity, your art, your flow, it's actually very difficult. And I'm sure most of you would be nodding your head when I say this. Isn't it difficult to stay within the flow of your life when you have any sort of money issue? Like, that is so hard. Because you can feel the scarcity, the fearful mindset coming in. Oh, I haven't got enough to pay my bills this month, or this or that. And okay, create something then. And you're like, no, that creative juice has just gone bye-bye. And it just goes. So that's why I don't always, like, if you want to follow your passion and do something with your creative energy for income, you can. Just be very careful about protecting your own passion. And that's why A lot of you I know who listen actually come for classes with me at Purity, which is the pole dancing school. But over the years, I have tried to protect my own creative flow with pole dancing, because at the end of the day, I started pole dancing for me. That was it. No one else. I didn't even plan to be a teacher. God, no, I didn't even think of that as a thing. I just wanted to dance, and I loved it. And I still do. And there's been so many of my teacher friends over the years, over 20 years, so many of them have left. So many of the original old school polers that used to teach when I started teaching, they stopped. Some of them at 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and so many of them said the same type of reason, that they couldn't keep up with the new stuff that was coming out. And I was just like, who said you had to? And I don't, and I've tried not to, because some of the stuff coming out now is absolutely bonkers. It's absolutely mind-boggling and phenomenal. But that doesn't take away from what I do as being phenomenal. And I've always tried to protect my own creative flow with pole, because I know I've seen other teachers fall by the wayside for these reasons. Yeah. This is why I feel very passionate about it, because I've seen it, and I've even felt it myself when I've compared to when I've compared to others. And I just find that that's heartbreaking. When you think creativity comes from your soul. And that's why we're doing this podcast. And I wanted to come back to something that I said about when children create, and they create from a joyful place. Yeah. They're having fun. There's magic, there's curiosity, there's playfulness, joyfulness. Now, you'll find, and this is definitely true, because you'll be able to think, oh yeah, this person. So many artists, they will create from pockets of darkness in their life. Now, I believe creativity can come through darkness and the light as well. So your happy times and your sad times. But the problem with this can be, not always, is thinking that you can only create from the darkness. I've experienced this feeling before, where I sort of feel like most of my creativity, like I said, with the scarcity mindset and me creating new pole combinations, I can't do that if I'm in a scarcity mindset. But at the same time, there's this notion that unless you're suffering for your art, it's not worth it. You're not going to create anything good. And I just don't agree with this at all. If you are somebody who feels like maybe they haven't had enough dark experiences in their life, or they're not suffering enough right now, therefore the song they're creating isn't going to be any good. We have known artists, whether it's painters, songwriters, composers, and they have pretty much literally committed suicide because they didn't feel like they were enough, they weren't any good, or maybe they just got lost and sucked into that darkness. Maybe someone even said to them along the way, the stuff you produce when you're in a dark time actually is much better, which is why so many of them end up getting addicted to drugs, because it enhances a dark time. If you're not going through a dark time, maybe you've got to make it, and this notion is so dangerous. When you start to fetishize, oh my God, I can't talk today. When you start to for God's sake, fetishize the pain. There we go. I'm not going to say it again. Don't make me say it again. Then we start to desire it. We start to go looking for it. We want suffering in our lives, and this is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And you tell me in one instance when living a life looking for this is a good idea, because I'm telling you now, you can't live a life without darkness. You cannot. But are you going to go looking for it? I don't want to. No way. So it's having that realization that actually our creative flows, our creative endeavors can actually be born out of being more joyful in our life. And that's what's more important on a whole. That's what you should be looking for, and the darkness will find you, because we can't go through life without bad stuff happening. It will happen. Yeah, feel free to go into your mind and draw out what's in there and create something from it, like some artwork and stuff. And sometimes you can really, it's like when you hear lyrics of a song and you're like, that must have been such a potent part of that person's life. You can feel their energy, but you can also feel it in happy songs too. My friend Dee has just released the most magical song ever. And when I hear it, it brings me to my knees every time. It's just so beautiful. I can really feel her energy and her curiosity for life coming through that song. And that's why I want it in my life, because I vibe on that. I love that. And I know like sad songs have their place, but that is not where I want to be. Like, I don't want to be like just sitting in a car listening to like really sad songs when I've had a bad day. It's like, no, I don't want to take myself down to the pit and leave myself there. I want to be able to address it and then come back to a balance. And it comes back to that allowing the emotions move through you like water down a stream. And this goes for both happy and sad emotions. And I try not to really label them, but we all know that they are kind of labeled happy and sad ones, or wrong ones and right ones, or whatever. They're all emotions. There's no wrong, right. They just are. But if we can allow them to pass through us and create with them when they do, that's fine. But allow them to move through us. And you'll probably find that by living like that, you'll be more authentic to who you are. Because being creative, it helps you lead a more authentic life, because you are showing up, doing things how you want to do them. And it doesn't matter whether you finish something or not. Yeah. So if you are somebody who just starts something, if you just, I enjoy drawing just pictures of like little pictures, and I don't really finish any of them, or I just paint bits of them, but you enjoy what you do, that's fine. If you were somebody who just has a bit of a track record for never finishing anything, and you're like, yeah, but I really, really, really want to finish this, then what I would suggest doing, if you are someone who's notorious for starting things, then I would suggest, if there's a bigger project that you want to actually finish, you want to sit your butt down, work through the times that you actually maybe feel a little bit bored, that's okay. Write down why you are doing it. So maybe there's a story that you want to write, yeah? And maybe it's a children's story. Maybe it's for, I don't know, young teenagers, and it would really help them, particularly if they're being bullied at school, and how to remember their own self-worth. Yeah, so, okay, that story, whatever it's about, that story has a brilliant why you want to write it. That's a strong why. And then you can find, as you get going with it, and then you think, oh, but I've just had this great idea pop into my head. Wouldn't it be great if I did this? And you're like, oh, hello there. Yes, I would like to have an affair with you, idea. Oh, look at you, all shiny and new. Oh, yeah. But then you're like, oh, but I was going to do this. Oh, but look at me over here. I'm so tasty. But then you're like, yeah, but I was going to finish this. At those times, it's really hard to discipline and stick with the idea. And if you are somebody who struggles with this, looking at that reason why, because I bet that reason why will trump the other idea. Because you'll be like, if I don't finish this, then my idea will never get out into the world to help anybody who needs it. It would never reach that youngster who's been bullied at school, who really needs help coming home every night, a book to read, to remember their own self-worth, to get through every day, the next day, the next day. What happens if I don't make that book? Yeah. So this is what, when you have a strong why, it doesn't even have to be quite as potent as that. I don't really know why that came into my head. But it doesn't have to be as strong a why as that. Yeah. But it could just be any reason why is a good reason why. But writing it down so you can come back to it, because we will get lured in by these other ideas, particularly if you were somebody who never really follows through and finishes an idea. And it's okay if you are like that. And it's okay if you want to continue to be like that. But if you do have some sort of a project that you're like, I really want to finish this, then think about doing what I've just said. Because I think that would really, really help you. So I think there's lots to take from that. And to be honest, even sitting here talking to you, I'm thinking, there are a few books that I've sort of started writing, and now as I'm saying it, thinking, I really would like to finish one. They're both a mixture of novels, 2 novels, and sort of like a self-help spiritual type book. And I think really the self-help one, my reason why would be like to help myself, because I think if I wrote down all my little nuggets of how I help myself, then at times of despair, I can come to that book and go, this will help me, and I know it will work because I've done it. So yeah, I think I need to sit down and look at that. But do you know what? I'll share with you something now, okay? But I have trouble sitting down and actually writing a book. Because, okay, you're going to say, Jolene, for God's sake, after everything you just said. So, my reality is, when it comes to writing a book, I feel like, and you're going to laugh, I feel like if I haven't got the time, because you get in a creative flow, when you're writing, you get in a flow. I feel like once I get in that flow, I don't want to finish until the book is written. Even if it's like 200-300 pages long. And you'll be thinking, yeah, but don't you want to eat? Don't you need to go to the toilet? Do you need to sleep? And the answer is yes. Yes, yes, and yes. But just somehow I still think like, it won't, if I don't finish the whole lot in one go. So I have this block, which I'm working on a lot. The book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert really did help break down a lot of barriers with this. So I'd like to break down more barriers and actually just start writing, because nobody sits down and writes like a 300-page book in one go, do they? I mean, God's sake, human beings need food. But yeah, so I do find this. So what I'm starting to do is I'm using that have an affair with creativity, and just it's okay if I've only got a few minutes. Just write something, write anything. It doesn't even matter if it goes out or not. I just need to start writing. And that's what I got to remember. It's just little steps will create big momentum. And that's what we've all got to remember with anything. Even if it's just, I wanted to be able to draw trees. Okay, how about start with a leaf? It doesn't have to be the whole tree in one go. And it's just remembering that it's so, so important to nurture our creative energy in life, because it's allowing our soul to have its own expression through us. I hope you've enjoyed that. I will get on with my book and start it again. One of them. And remember, as always, to lead through your life with your heart and to live with intention. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your friends and on social media. If you have the time to rate or review this podcast, I'd be ever so grateful. If you'd like to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Jolene Sensual Being. The links to my YouTube and to sign up to my mailing list will be in the show notes as well. I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.